I love doing green radio, but my real passion is speaking to live audiences. I love taking people on a journey. I often begin my talks by asking, how many of you consider yourselves to be environmentalists? Depending on who I'm speaking to, I'll get maybe a third, possibly a half of them to raise their hands. I think they're picturing, activists unfurling banners on, Rainforest Action Network protests on Home Depot's building. That's not what I'm talking about. And when they go away, I hope to have them view their environment or our environment in a whole new way.
A classmate of my daughter's, her father, they drive a Lincoln Navigator. I won't reveal any names. One of those big SUVs, one of the worst. And he told us at my husband's birthday barbecue last weekend that he just traded that in for a Prius, right? I said, okay, did I have anything to do with that at all? He said, totally. I mean, everything to do with it. So one person can make a difference. Now we just need to multiply this times 200 million, right? That's what we're trying to do with the radio program. We're trying to reach mainstream America. People say, why don't you do EcoTalk on alternative radio, KPFA, college? I'd love to do it everywhere. But my passion, because I sort of grew up in mainstream media, worked for CBS since 1984, is to really reach the soccer moms in their SUVs, to reach people who don't understand the connections and try to connect the dots. Not in a way to make them feel guilty or bad, but to say we're all in this together, we're all waking up together. So the slogan of EcoTalk used to be Sound Solutions for a Healthier Planet. And now that I'm on Air America, it's greening the red and blue states one show at a time. I'm happy to tell you there's one more name I can add to the signs that people are waking up. After Katrina, Wilma, Rita, Oprah, Chuck, Mary, my sister-in-law, lives in Miami. Different politics, really different worldviews. We can only talk about family stuff. She's been without electricity for, I think, about 12 days now. And she was calling us a lot because there's no television, there's no lights, and complaining about, oh, my God, this is so awful. I've never seen a hurricane season like this. There's no gas. They can't pump the gas. The stores are closed. We're eating by candlelight. She's going on. And I said, Mary, I feel your pain. I really do. It must be awful. And after the fourth or fifth night of this, I said, now let me share something with you. And maybe you can feel my pain. I said, environmentalists like myself, and there's many, many more, but not enough of us, have been talking about climate chaos. Scientists have been predicting this kind of weather for years, and nobody's listening, or so it seems. I said, you didn't want to listen. You don't listen to my show, even if it was on in Miami. This is what it's all about. It's not about politics. Hurricanes are an equal opportunity destroyer. Republicans, conservatives, liberals. She said, I'm going to think this over and call you back tomorrow night. And she called back and she said, I get it. I really get it. It must be so frustrating, Betsy, to be talking about these things and people like me just don't know what you're talking about or aren't listening. I get it now. I said, okay, so what are you going to do about it? And she said, buy a hybrid car. I said, that's a start. My goal is to go beyond the choir, to expand the choir, to grow the congregation. That's really the only way we're going to get, if we don't have an informed population, we're not going to be buying greener products and demanding greener programs and voting for greener politicians and presidents. So we need to connect the dots. That's where it all begins. And we need to be informed and we need to be educated and raise our eco IQ and spread it around.
The key to realize is this is not about sacrifice. It's not about gloom and doom. It's not about less being worse. It's about less is more. It's about being smarter with our resources. Because with population trends and consumption trends only going up across the planet, we do have limits. And that's okay, because once you make that shift and you start making your world more sustainable, you become instantly part of the solution, not just the problem.
So it is happening. Solar panels are, pardon the expression, going through the roof. Sales of solar panels. As many of my friends in the industry say, yeah, it's been a great 30-year overnight success story. Their phones are ringing off the hook. We need to look at different ways to conserve water. Water is going to be the next oil. I was just in Turkey last week. There are signs of drought and record heat everywhere. Their reservoirs are down 35%. They're shutting Turkish baths that have been in operation for centuries, although they are kind of wasteful. We did one and lots of water being used, so maybe that's not a bad thing. But that part of the world is suffering, and there's many, if you look at a map, there's extreme weather everywhere. You don't have to go to Turkey. You just open up the newspaper and see hurricanes where they're not supposed to be, killer tornadoes. Katrina, Wilma, Rita were the big examples of that. And then Al with his movie, that really was the tipping point. So we were also traveling and met a man from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, who, Navy captain, pretty conservative guy, He is so concerned about global warming. Why? Because they just had the hottest, driest summer in 150 years in Birmingham, Alabama. I said, are people talking about that as it being evidence of climate change? He said, no, but they are saying this is most unusual. We haven't seen weather like this. It's evident everywhere. This must certainly be the beginning of what climate change looks like. So are we going to keep our heads in the sand as a country? Are we going to continue with this momentum to wake up? Well, it all depends on, you, me, all of us. And I hope that I can encourage you to do what you can in your home, in your workplace. Look at what you drive, look at what you eat. Buying local, buying organic, even organic clothing makes a big difference. Not only is it healthier for you and your family and healthier for the growers of organic produce and organic cotton, but it sends a message. If you can buy a hybrid car next time you're in the market to buy or lease, do so. It sends a message that we do care about fuel efficiency. Don't underestimate our intelligence as Americans. Barbara Mikulski, in that famous Senate vote on the CAFE standards, stood up and said, we can't change anything. American moms like their SUVs the way they are, big. Well, she didn't ask all of us. So we know better, we Americans. We know that we can have a better life for our children. This is the issue. Sustainability is going to be the next frontier. It may be our last frontier if we don't all embrace this. This is actually from yesterday's Wall Street Journal. General Electric's environment push hits business realities. You all heard about their Eco-Imagination program. They were sort of the first big American corporation to come out and say, we're really going to invest in clean technology. Not because we're so green, not because we're, humanitarians, heaven forbid, but because we think there's profit to be made. We think there's money to be made. So now they are hitting some realities, and they're getting a lot of pushback. Even executives at the top of GE are questioning whether the science of climate change is conclusive, which is kind of surprising to me, because there's been more than enough scientific evidence. But again, we're a country that pays more attention to celebrities than to scientists sometimes. And we're obsessed with Britney Spears' underwear and Lindsay Lohan's rehab. And it's a little strange while we're kind of going downhill.
We're learning more about the need to be greener. Consciousness is being raised. Awareness is being raised. The problem is the glaciers are melting faster than we're acting. So we need to speed it up. We need to get everybody on board. We need to have nothing short of a cultural paradigm shift. We need a sea change before the sea changes on us. And I love helping people see that so that they leave that room or they hear that program and they walk away with a whole new consciousness about how to conserve. So they become conscious consumers. That's all it will take. That's all we need. It's not any one thing other than have that consciousness. And if I can help raise consciousness in each of those people who are present and they take that with them the rest of their lives, the future will be green, indeed.